Hey everyone, welcome to the show. We have Pang Ren here with us right now. But for today, what we have is, today Pang Ren is actually a very seasoned animator, and he has, worked in different companies. He's worked on big titles like Big Hero 6, the mobile game, um, Metal Gear Solid 5. Right? So he has a lot to share with regards to company culture and just and his experience of just being able to work in Korea also helps inform us on how Korean animation culture is different from Singapore. So without further ado, let's give Pang Ren a welcome. So okay, just nice, because of all that technical hoo-ha, we have some
Uh-huh.
time to actually have Pang Ren introduce himself. So Pang Ren, I think you have quite. I mean, we were previously starting at ADM, right? That was in.
Yeah. So yeah, but I was the pioneer batch of ADM students, also the guinea pig batch. So we had a lot of I think that at that time it was quite fun. Like I think to compensate for being the first batch, the
Mhm,
principal gave us a lot of freebies.
mhm.
Like they could found those kind of like pretty famous directors or animators to come and teach us some workshops and all that. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What is your
then
most memorable moment in ADM?
memorable, just like starting out. Uh, Back in my batch, there's this guy called Carl Bauda who came over, and he's now the director of many films in the Illumination Studios, doing
Mm.
Minions and Despicable Me and all that. So to be under him is to study under him is pretty interesting. And I think he influenced a lot of how I animate right now.
Oh, how
Because
so?
Yeah, because in ADM, they teach you blocking, and after that you do like step tangents, and then after you spline in and all that. But Carl doesn't really believe in that. He believes in animating from inside out. So
Mm.
in a way, like something like he talks about like when we play with our action figures. Yeah, like sometimes we play with action figures and then we like pretend them to be talking, and when we do this, oh,
Mm.
I'm so happy. Oh, yeah, I'm so glad. Like, oh, I'm so sad, kind of thing.
Mm.
So he's saying that what you're doing, you're actually manipulating his hips, right? And in a way that conveys the kind of like emotion you want to convey. So he says when he starts animating, he just animates the hips only, and then
Mm. Mm.
and the whole character is stiff, and then he just like and and I don't know why, but this just really stuck into me, and this became the way I animate for many years. And
Mm.
after that, I was not so much. I don't block. I don't do block and step tangents at all. I just spline and I animate the hips first, and then I'll animate the rest of the spine, bone by bone, that kind of thing. Like
Mm.
I don't know why, it just works for me.
Mm. So for those of us who are not like animators, what do you mean by spline? I mean, in quick layman terms, spline animation and versus what we call
Okay.
tangents, right? And
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So basically, when you animate, when you draw in like 2D or whatever, right? You draw in like every second you draw like 30 frames or 24 frames depending on where you are, right? So
Mm.
having blocking means that maybe for once again you have one key pose, right? So for 30 frames, maybe you have one or two key poses. They are
Mm-hmm.
just there to help you sort of visualize what the acting is, what the character is going to do. Maybe like if let's say for once again this character is going to do an anticipation before picking up a rock. So you just have this pose as this you just draw, or in 3D you just have this pose for like maybe 10 frames or whatever, and then after that
Mm-hmm.
pick up, you go to the other pose, which is the picking up pose for
Mm.
the next 20 frames, whatever. So in the span of once again, you only have two key poses. You need to draw two key poses when you're doing 2D, or you're in 3D, you're just posing the character in two poses. So something like that. I hope I didn't confuse the audience.
No. I think that is give someone a rough idea, because I think there's a lot of technicalities that they are there in animation.
Yeah. So this is blocking. So instead of 30 images, I just do the key images. And then when it comes to splining, is filling in all the in-betweens between the key poses. So meaning from this to this, I have like all this in-between poses that I have to create before I touch the stone or whatever I touch the bag. And then after that, the next key pose, maybe I'll be lifting it up to this pose, putting it here as another key pose. So maybe for the whole duration, I'll have 4 key poses, right? And then when I'm spline, I'll just fill in all the in-betweens, right? So just to make the movement very smooth and weighty.
So it's like kind of like you have like your kind of like the keyframe or the sketch all done up when you talk about blocking of the poses, right? You kind of like do the major gestures in the pose, right? Or in the movement, right? Then you fill in the blank so that it allows the character or the 3D model to move.
Yeah, to look believable, to have like a
Right. Cool. So now you do mainly just spline and you don't do blocking.
And
that means you just animate straight on without even thinking of like, okay, what are in between poses? Just go straight from beginning up to end.
Yeah, I push in the I try to push them during the whole process. So sometimes when I animate and like, okay, this motion of the hips going down and up looks to be working already, right? Then after that, I'll animate the spine to do like this and then coming up, right? And then like this is just my first pass, right? This is just my first pass. Then I'll make sure that the legs plant well and all that. And let's say this character is going to do a step, right? And he steps, and then maybe I feel like it's probably a bit weak. I can push it even more. So maybe in between, I'll push the spine to go back even more, or the twist before I do like the eventual strike. So it's a lot of adjustments in between. I don't know why it just works for me.
I think it's quite beautiful that you actually show these gestures, your hand gestures flowing and whatnot. I think I think animators generally have a certain appreciation for the beauty of movement. Right? It's like how everything has got to be in a very nice arc, right? And that makes the whole movement feel beautiful and graceful, or whatnot. And it gives a sense, an illusion of weight, right? And that's what the whole art of animation is to make something that is not there. But it's not really there. It's just
not alive. They're not alive, but once they go through your hands, they feel alive, right? That's the draw of animation, which has been. I mean, he's captivated me for so many years now. Now I still enjoy really animating a lot.
Yeah. So what got you into animation? Because like for me, I took up animation back in ADM. But for some reason, I just felt more connected to drawing and painting. I mean, I wanted to take up animation because, back then, I think ADM was a new school, and, if this is a program that can give me a degree in, and allow me to draw, I was more than happy to take it up. Right?
Same as you. I was the typical, like, science student who has been trying to do art for many years, but I don't know, but I finally got the courage to do it. I was like, hey, ADM is the only place that I can actually get a degree. And but when I went in, I realized that actually I have been interested in movement for many years, even before I entered ADM. So I quite like dancing when I was in JC, and I was a rock climber in JC. So I participated in quite a few like competitions back then. And when I was a rock climber, I realized that I really the group of us really love to study human motion, right? Just that little bit of twist and a little bit of like just the step, just the higher step or whatever, right? It just makes you able to reach for a higher tile and all that. And we've been studying that for ever since junior college. And when I reached ADM, it was about how many years? About eight years, or maybe wait a minute. Is it 8 years? No. Sorry, 5 years of continuously rock climbing already. And then I was like, hey, actually I quite enjoy looking at humans move. Then when I look at reference, it's like, oh, I actually know in 3D space I can figure out, oh, person is moving this way. And referencing seems to be like quite easy for me. I know that when he's bending his leg this way, his hip is going this way, right? I just had a fly for it because I was unconsciously studying it already.
And you're constantly, when you're rock climbing, you're constantly shifting your weight. You are aware of your own body movements, right?
Shift. Yeah, I was aware of weight shift, and I'm aware of like, this person doesn't look normal already. Like when I move this character in 3D space, like his weight doesn't look natural at all. I was like, oh, okay, because he's not resting on the right leg or whatever. Like you just happen to know unconsciously know. Yeah. So that's the story.
No, but that's the beauty of animators, right? It's like you notice the things that people don't really see and take note, right? People just like take motion for granted. Like I sometimes take motion for granted. I don't really see all these things, but it's this is the artistry that you guys command, in a studio. Yeah. So like after ADM, where do you land up at? Did you get a job immediately or?
No. After ADM, sad to say, ADM's animation training wasn't fantastic, right? Yeah, but after that, I got a little bit of training at Tiny Island for a few months. Then I got selected to work in Korea by EDB. There's happened to be a plan that the government wants to get. Back then, it was like 10 years ago. Government wanted to bring in the animation industry to Singapore, which is because they saw profits there. A lot of people, a lot of companies were starting to boom when they just do animation, they create IPs and all that. So government was like, hey, let's send a bunch of Singaporeans over to Korea, go and learn from them, right? And then see if we can attract all these companies to come in, right? Then and when we were there, we were like, hey, there are quite a lot of other EDB projects, and we got to know some other Singaporeans who working for Nexon, also one of the more famous games company in Korea. Then hopefully ended up doing very well. But anyway, there was a plan. So I was like, hey, so suddenly super heng, I managed to go to Korea for 1 year. So that's my first job.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Korea was really an eye opener. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, how was the transition from a Singaporean working culture to a Korean culture? Like, just
firstly, Koreans don't speak a lot of English, right? So we had to step up our Korean, and but in the same way, we cross learn from each other. So the Koreans started to speak more English. We started to try to speak more Korean. So in the end, none of us speak our own native language anymore.
So it's like, what do you call it? Korean, Singlish.
But I would say most of them start accustom their language to us because they are more interested in learning English than us. Then we wanting to learn Korean. So the culture there was very artist friendly, right? I will refer them to more of like a little family, and not right. As of now, I still think of how that culture there was, and I still miss it. Because the culture was not that of a competitive. Like the artists, we are all not competing with each other. We were cross influencing each other in a
Oh,
way.
how so?
It's like, yeah, like I don't know, like you start to see how everybody is like awing at everybody else's work, right? So every day when we submit our dailies, it's actually quite public. And then you see all our colleagues, sometimes they'll look at everybody's dailies and they're like, oh, this person's anime is so good, this anime animates so well, that kind of thing. And it inspires them. And you see everybody's level, right? Just because everybody is always trying to catch up to the best, to the best person without trying to push that person down. And yeah, it's like, and that's what I really like about it. It's like, wow, they are really that hungry. They're like, and they are so supportive of each other. And I feel kind of like there's almost, I can say, there's almost no company in Singapore that felt that way. Yeah.
Really, even now, you feel?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's good. I think that's fair. And it's what your experience is your experience.
Yeah,
Not right or
they are
wrong.
like very dedicated artists. Seriously, man. It's no joke when they say that when the media portray them as workaholics, because they are workaholics. We really, if we think that we are workaholics, we really dwarf in comparison to them. Sometimes I don't know where we get the balance lah, because there's also a story which my assistant director, right, he's also is a very dedicated man also. And there was once on a Saturday, everybody was trying to chong out some work lah. Then you suddenly see his wife and his kid come to office. His wife was also an artist previously, but after they had kids, she stayed at home. And the wife was like saying that your kid hasn't seen you for like 1 or 2 weeks, that kind of thing. I was like, oh, like, yeah. Oh, it's like, oh, she's really absorbed into work. But well, that's the negative side. But the good side is he really sincerely want to help everyone in the company. Yeah, he's so dedicated. I don't know how. how
They
he
put the
continues.
passion above everything else, right? In their lives.
Yeah, really. And there's a sense of community there, because in Korea there's no like office lady, office auntie to come and sweep the floor for you. So there's the culture we have. Actually, there are multiple cultures. So one of the culture we have is like every Friday we will. I think if I don't know, it's every Friday we'll end work slightly earlier. Then we will go to this cabinet where there's like a lot of mops, and then all the guys will be taking out the mops, and then we will start mopping the floor. We'll clear everybody's table, we'll clear everybody's trash. So the whole office started from sitting down on their tables, they all come alive, and then we start to interact with everybody in the office. Everybody, and like some people throw trash, some people clean up there, some people recycle, some people mop the floor. Then you suddenly feel, it's very communal, Something, yeah. Then what I realized is that sometimes to forge this kind of like brotherhood or whatever, right? Sometimes it feels like a little bit like army, like you like you force people to do something for their own environment, right? But then they come closer, because this is one of those small activities, right, which make people from opposite sides of the room, right, connect to each other. So the person opposite the room is no longer just a face. Yeah, this person is the person who mops the floor for you. They clear the trash. They recycle for you, and you I think you sort of feel very touched by even not knowing this person's name. You're like, hey, this person is, and I'm doing some my part for the company too. I'm also doing my cleaning or all that, and then after you have to wash the mop, all that jazz. Yeah.
So it sounds like they are a very cohesive team. Everyone takes ownership of the work and also the space that they live in. And I won't say live
Yes.
in, but
And
they
there's
work
like
in. Maybe they do live in there every now and then. But
yeah,
there's this great inner there.
there are beds inside. There are foldable beds inside.
So they do eat, live, and clean the
Very few
space.
people.
So yeah.
Very few people sleep inside. But I have slept inside once or twice, a few times, maybe more than a few times. But,
But it also sounds very communal as well, right? It's like everyone is in it together, doing things together. Camaraderie is high.
Take care of your things, and every year, right, there will be an event which there will be a person on the ground floor with this kind of like air gun. Is it when you do this kind of like
airbrush.
airbrush, and
yes,
the compressor, right? And they ask everybody to open up their computers, CPU, right, and take out your like keyboard and go downstairs. And this guy was, and then you clean your you just clean your PC lah, because they say static does build static, and then static is not good for a computer. And just like really a lot of care for the environment, for the things they use and all that. And yeah, and my lead animator was the one who was doing the spraying. I was like, oh, you guys, so so you grow to like the people around you. And then I think when you grow to like the people around you, right, you want to do you breed an environment which makes people want to contribute, want to do their best, right? And I think this is really something I think maybe most of the companies it's a bit lacking. Okay. I when we wanted to talk about this topic, I was thinking about why it lacked in most of the companies I've been in. Because Singapore has a lot of this kind of like scrum system, right? Our team management is very transactional. So I want something from you this morning. I said, can you Dominic, today I need this. Can you give me this? When can you give me this? Right? This is my daily conversation with you, right? And you become sort of like itematized. I don't know. You become like a time or a chip in a chip that I use, kind of thing. And slowly we start to take away the human from you. It's like Dominic is a person who does the FX or does the drawings. And every time I just ask him for this. Yeah. And when we are further and further apart, right, we start to not understand each other's. We start to not understand each other's sort of 难处啊，怎么讲啊？ How do you say?
The difficulties or sufferings.
Difficulties, yeah. Like and I think slowly people get jaded because we are not communicating as humans anymore. I think deep down inside, everybody want to communicate with another person as a human. Like want to share, like we want to share, we want to laugh, we want to care about each other. When the system makes people just transact, transact wants and needs, the kind of thing. Then you slowly become more, our passion will sort of like slowly fade out. You have to go out somewhere else to find your passion again, like do your side projects or whatever.
Because the team, or rather the work, doesn't give you what you want or what you need to feel fulfilled and satisfied.
Yeah, like I think what you need besides being besides doing great work, you also want to connect with the people in your office. I think that's what you want, but we don't know it yet.
I think previously you also mentioned like we were talking a little bit about the arts community here or the
Oh,
animation
sorry.
community
Yeah.
here. It's a little bit siloed, right?
Mm.
Is it because of a lack of community, or is it because at least in the office environment, like you said, everyone is like a cog in a machinery. There's many. What are your thoughts about it?
I think we okay, I can only talk about it in a company context. I think we need to do things together, right? Do things that are not work related together, right? Which like cleaning the office, that's one. And in my in when I was in Korea, and this same for Singapore also. I think we have some kind of like Othello competition. Like sometimes we go out and have drinks, like company drinks. It's not like we don't pay for the drink, like the company pays. And then there's like when the company anniversary is coming up, we do like a sketch, like we come together, do something that is not work, right? And there's time, of course, there's time allocated for you to meet up and plan for the sketch, lah. And that's one cool thing about Korea is because their pay is quite low. The company offers like free dinners if you work after 6 o'clock, right? But if you go, then they will designate like maybe there are 2 or 3 restaurants around the office. If you just go to these restaurants, you sign your name, you can buy, you can get like a 5,000 Korean won meal for free, which is like $5 US. And then it's kind of like, so we after lunch we will eat our own, right? But dinner, then everybody gather together. All those like hardworking people, we gather together, and then we eat together, we talk together, and then we go for drinks, and then we kind of our competition, like make things like I don't know, that all these like communal like work that everybody do together that is not work related, right? I think brings people closer together. If I want to extend this concept to Singapore's creative industry or creative culture, maybe it'll be good to have like a a group project or whatever that maybe just coming together to clean the beach or whatever, like
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
nice. Coming
yeah,
here
like
looking the beach.
things that's not you don't have to know each other and always do art, right? You need to know some activities you can know each other in a more humane level, in a more human level. And then for in Singapore there are some companies that I work with which I found very drastic changes right after some activity happened, right?
Oh, tell us more.
Yeah. So I was working in an ad company, and the ad company is not very big, right? Just about like 8 people, or whatever. But as an animator, I still feel that there's the video production side with a lot of producers, a lot of like grip cameraman or whatever, and then there's the post side. So sometimes we feel a bit like segregated, right? Then after that, there was once the company said, "Hey, the company's 10 years anniversary. Let's go Batam." Oh, and the company pay for the the hotel and all that. Actually, the company didn't pay; somebody else paid. But so and then after somebody sponsored anyway. So then after that, right? After the whole trip, right? Then everybody start to become so close together, Then we I don't know, like uh the whole feel of that office changed, right? Just because of that one activity. And that's not the only time it happened. When I was in Gumi, right? Gumi is a really big office, about 80 person in it. When 80 to 100, and it is max. So from one office, you want to walk to the other end. There's like what a few minutes to walk, and then you won't be able to know anybody. And there's once they organized like some they call paintball like event, and everybody go for paintball. Then after that session, then everybody start to know each other already.
Mm.
Because that face across the other side of the room is not just a face anymore. Like you don't know this person's name, but you don't know that, but you know that person hit you with a paintball on the head, right? Then you're like, oh, you're that person, wow, it's very painful, you know. Then you start to have something to talk about, right?
Yes.
Then
right.
this person is not just a face, right? Then you're like, hey, suddenly you know another person, and then you're like, hey, I'm interested to know what you're working on, and you start to have conversations. And I really like all these kind of like human moments when I'm in companies, not even in company, when I'm anywhere. I like to, when I connect with some person, I really enjoy it. Yeah.
Right, but I'm just curious also, like when you talk about this kind of connection, do you think it's necessary for it to be top down, meaning that it's organized by HR, it's a HR event, then you encourage people to interact more, or can it be done on like more of a ground up kind of thing by, maybe your department invite other departments go for lunch together
and because I did it myself. I organized retro gaming because I'm really into retro gaming so when I was in uni, right, I organized I didn't actually organize it in the first place. I was just like, I asked my friend, hey, do you want to play balloon fight when during lunch? And she was like, yeah, sure. Then we set it up in the pantry. Then at first it's just the two of us. Then she asked me like, balloon fight was boring. Because balloon fight, I don't know whether you remember balloon fight. Balloon fight is like two.
I haven't played it before. Yeah.
Huh? You haven't played it before?
I haven't played it before. No.
Okay, it's a co-op game, right?
Right.
So each you have two balloons on top of you, and then you're supposed to do Flappy Bird style flapping, and then you kick all the enemy birds down from the sky. The other enemy birds will also be flying around. So you start to kick them, and when both of you kick all the other enemy birds out of the game, right, then you win that level, right? My friend said, let's play another way. Let's play like we are versus each other, right? And then during lunchtime, right, when the pantry was half empty, right, then we start to scream and shout. The game suddenly became very, very interesting, right? Because we changed the way the game was played. So and then there was like chasing, there was like backstabbing, there was like funny, and then suddenly my friend was like, hey, maybe we should organize a competition. And when we said that, when we look back, right, there's suddenly a lot of people just standing around us, just looking at us play. Right? Because they came back from lunch, kind of thing. I was like, oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. Then I organized after hours retro gaming party, right? So there's a little bit of gambling involved. everybody who participated put in $1, and the winner gets everything. Right? I was like, super fun. It was super fun. It was I don't know. We had commentators. We had like everybody just stepped up and did something fun for that event. I don't know how it happened, but it organically happened. Yeah.
But how did it affect the relations in the office after that?
It's super funny. Everybody start to have names for each other already. You're like, oh, you're the commenter. Then you are always like secretly always like trying to backstab people. Yeah. Then the winner is a girl, and she's a Korean girl, and she's like, wow, you see her like very quiet. Oh, she win everybody. You know? Then you just like, this really joins us together. And then after HR saw like this event, it was like, hey, I will sponsor the next event and give you food or whatever. So I organized another one or two of this. I think one or two of this with food. Yeah. So I think it comes from people sharing something they like with their fellow colleagues, I guess. Maybe sometimes you will grow momentum. Yeah.
So it comes from me earnestly wanting to connect with someone and doing something rather than waiting for something to happen.
they're like, if let's say I get like I'm interested in retro gaming, but I don't tell you, I don't share with you. How am I going to connect with you? Yeah. So it comes from wanting to share. I don't normally I want to share. You want to play with me? Then I set out everything. Then you just come and enjoy it. Yeah. It's not like I want you to become one of me or whatever. I just want you to see. This is what I do. And it's easy for other people to pick up because it's just a one button game, right?
Yeah.
Button.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have one more question before we round up tonight. Like, so in an ideal world, right? Like, how do you think like animators or even creatives can contribute to the workplace to create a more arts-driven kind of culture in the office, so that everyone is just focused on delivering good work? Everyone is driven to just say, "Hey, let's work together. Let's work as a team. Let's get this shit done." So that we can create a good product. Yeah. What do you think are like the key components, like, if you like? You can distill it down to a few components.
Key components, like in an ideal world, maybe I have to know the people in my company, right? And there's no like ego fighting in this in this company, right? When there's no like ego fighting of who is better, right? And everybody is trying to lift each other up, and when everybody is starting to do this, right, suddenly I think a collective will, I call it a collective will, but sort of like start to come out, right? I don't know how it happens, but I know sometimes like when there's no ego fighting, when everybody is like trying to help each other, this collective will come out. And when this collective will starts to come out, it's an energy. I don't know how to explain it, but when it's an energy, and despite having the same number of hours, or maybe you just put in another extra 15 minutes or whatever, you realize that your work is somehow maybe a little bit better than if all you were trying to do is trying to push somebody down. Yeah, I don't know, like, when sometimes you work and then you are in the zone. Something like that. Something you're trying to foster something like that in an environment, like everybody is in the zone, right? Because nobody is fighting. Everybody is like, oh, we are. I just want to be the best already. That's it. Maybe that's. I hope I answer your question now, but maybe that's like, I would say, an ideal.
So it's like building trust, where everyone, there's no fear, right, of being like, being put down by someone, being looked down by someone.
Yes,
but everyone trusts one another, where everyone's vulnerable and say, hey, I may not be good, but I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to hear from you, and get your critique, right?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, because when there's no fear, of criticism, when there's no fear of not being good enough, when there's no fear, I think that everybody wants to give out their best work, right? When there's no fear, the best work can come out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to sum it all, man. The best way.
You help me with it.
No, because I'm just extracting it from what you said, right? Because it's just, if there's no fear, I mean, ego is driven by fear, right? Fear of not being liked, fear of not being good enough or whatnot. But if there's no sense of fear, like, I can be just who I am, and people will accept me for who I am, I can create the best possible thing that I can create without fear of being judged or
I think the world, like, not even in the office, maybe in the world, will be so much better if there's like, if people can live without fear. Yeah.
Right. And with that, thank you for being so courageous and fearless. With regards to sharing. Yeah.
Should do some dance.
Do a dance.
Entertain your audience before they.
I frankly I hate to dance, but my wife says that
TikTok, you know.